Hello guys. I want to start a whole new series on explaining women and aiding your understanding. This series is going to be my explanation of what I consider to be broad and general characteristics that define women. This is a new series and I will be announcing something at the end of the video that I need your support with. So please tune in for the entirety of the video. We will cover specific topics in this series ranging from the basics of solipsism, hypergamy, gynocentrism as is experienced by women, and following that, we will cover aspects that are not so commonly covered in the red pill, such as breakups and why they occur, how women might experience the emotional downfall of a rejection or a breakup, and of course even more specific cases that you guys might want to cover. So please tune in and participate. Firstly, I will note that each topic will describe women with broad generalizations that may or may not apply to every single woman that you meet. Think of the video as, let's say, a bell curve falling within 2 or 3 standard deviations from the mean. That means there are exceptions to every video, perhaps for every video, with the exception of perhaps solipsism to varying degrees, hypergamy, and gynocentrism. But these broad generalizations will be helpful in giving you an idea of how the average female thinks and, most importantly, feels. Ladies, if you came across this video and you hear some things that you don't particularly like, just think that I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about other women that you know who behave in this way. Let's take off your collective thinking hats and let's listen and think as individuals when it comes to these videos. Right, after all that brief introduction, let's get on with it. Solipsism is defined as the view or theory that the self is all that can be known to exist. That means to be called solipsistic is to be called as having the quality of being self-centered or selfish. This of course can be somehow misinterpreted in many ways as saying that all women are always selfish, which is of course not what I mean. What I mean is that when it comes to interactions with others within a social circle, most of the actions performed by a woman is to gain herself something. It also means that the world which she experiences is rationalized down and away from the reality that is actually lived to a reality that makes that person, that specific woman, feel good about herself. Theoretically, we all do it all the time. We all want ourselves to appear good to ourselves and we justify many of the actions that we do. This can include stealing and justifying it by claiming that you're a good person or that you fell on some bad times and you normally give some money to charity. This is somehow similar to what is experienced by women, such as in the case of solipsism. That is, they will define their worldview by what is trending and what their social circles has deemed to be good. Solipsism is necessary when it comes to women due to the fact that it is their operating mode most of the time and it can explain much of what they're saying and doing. It will be best to appreciate that when we talk about solipsism, it's best to understand that it plays hand in hand with the sexual reproductive strategy of women. I will cover that in another video, but I will simply summarize here and say that women will always try and get something better and maximize their chances of having an offspring with the best genes, let's say, and make sure that those genes make it to the next generation. That often translates, as Rollo Tomasi puts it, as alpha fucks and beta bucks. So right now I have defined some random concepts and how those play into solipsism. But that does nothing in explaining how that reality plays out in the female mind. For that, we will create a diagram and I will walk you through it. I have often been told that I don't use enough visual aids to help my subscribers follow through what I'm saying. Therefore, let's try and do that now. So let's walk through this diagram in order to understand exactly what solipsism entails when it comes to women. For a woman, the number one priority is of course her own self-interest. She will want a number of things to achieve or to do in her life. That will be things that as a person she will be acting towards, and that is of course finding herself a suitable mate. That is priority number one for women. That is the hypergamy side of the argument that is included in the self-interest aspect of the equation. Now, the female collective interest also plays a role, and a woman will express opinions and support aspects towards the interest of other women, as it also aids her own self-interest. Therefore, if more women get more money, she will get more money herself, and if that agrees with her own version of ideal self that she sees herself as, she will support that cause. Now, the last aspect of it is the socio-cultural and religious norm. That according to where you are in the world, will vary greatly. However, if you can imagine, a woman will support opinions that fall within the norm of the country and the culture that she finds herself in. That does not mean she will act in that way, but she will express opinions of that kind. Now let's look at solipsism a little bit closer based on this diagram, and you will be able to understand what I'm trying to say a little bit better. Where all the circles meet, that will be the opinions that she will feel comfortable enough to express to the rest of the world, and also the running narrative that she will be having inside her head. If she's religious or is in a religious community, let's say, she will act as if she's religious, and her running narrative will be of that of a good girl that has been tested by faith or whatever other nonsense she will be able to afford herself. Though she is religious and right-wing, she can support aspects of equality of women when it comes to pay and equal opportunities, but will on the other hand want to be submissive to her husband as per the Bible. Additionally, she will fuck every bad boy on the street per her own self-interest and use the pill in order to prevent her from getting pregnant. And then, when it comes to it, marry the provider after she has repented all of those past sins and her past actions. We have a lot of right-wing Christian pseudo-red pill women like that in the community. Though it will sound like I'm judging all this, I'm not really, because that's what it's permissible within her own solipsistic frame, and that's how it is for them. However, we need to understand that the social, cultural, and religious norm varies. It moves up and down, and the more liberal the views, the more you're permitted to do and act and say. Additionally, the female collective keeps wanting more and more, and therefore it's forever expanding. The strange aspect is that within this diagram is that the actions that one woman takes will fall within the overlays of the self-interest. She will act on all the ways towards the female collective goals that she believes will help her own self-interest, and also act in all the social, cultural, and religious norm ways that also support her own self-interest. Now, all of these things create a sort of cognitive dissonance, which she explains by explaining the narrative that is overlaid by all three circles on the diagram. That is why solipsism makes a woman appear narcissistic and completely irrational at times. This overlay creates the narrative that states that men compartmentalize and women are all jumbled up in the wiring of their brains. Everything that a woman does is governed by self-interest, and we must understand that. But the self-interest she's allowed to act in is the one permissible by the other two aspects, the social, cultural, and religious norm of where she is at, and also the female collective attributes that she wants to support. She basically acts in what she can get away with and creates a narrative in her head that explains all of this. This is a reality that is well known within the red pill world. It is often why people suggest that if you are to evaluate a woman's inner world, then you must be able to see past of what she says to you. You must focus on her actions and to try and understand that inner solipsism and what that is telling her. What I find incredibly striking, if we are to believe the above diagram, is that the majority of her inner self-interest is never truly realized. The woman is always left wanting more and more, no matter what is happening in her life. For her to be pleased, a man must neatly fall on top of her own circle and allow her to satisfy all of those things. That, of course, can never happen, but by neatly encompassing herself within a man that can provide more to that self-interest, she can achieve more. The most important aspect of that internal self-interest for women are her hypergamous needs. Therefore, a man that satisfies that gives her a lot more of what she wants as a person. However, even in that case, she will still want more and more until she eventually realizes that she can't get any more and she can't get any better when it comes to men. But the want will still and always remain there. In the next episode, we will talk about hypergamy. I'm also announcing a Patreon that I'm setting up right now, and the link will be in the description. And if you want to support, guys, please do support here. I know I've said that I will never ask you guys for money, but this is to support new content that I will be producing for you guys. And no one will ever be charged who supports this content, for the old content that I'm now re-uploading. If you have enjoyed what I have produced so far and want to simply say thanks or send an anonymous donation, I have included a link to a Coinbase account underneath for a quick and anonymous donation via Bitcoin. Please support in order to continue making new content. For anyone asking in the comment section about the Red Pill Monthly, both Rollo and I have been extremely busy in our professional life so far. Therefore, it's taken a bit longer to arrange something, but something will come your way soon enough. We're trying to work through it and through our timetables, so please stay tuned. That's all I had to say. Thank you very much for listening.